Grow your wealth, live on your terms. Good afternoon, ladies. Millen is here. So as I promised, I wanted to have this candid conversation with you about living through this crisis. I will share with you some things that I do. I would love to hear from you what works for you, what helps you to navigate through this unprecedented times we're living through. And I wanted to begin with the, I decided to choose a word, anchor word for each vlog I'm going to do. And today the anchor word is perspective. You know, it's natural to feel fear. We are wired that way, right? So every time when we experience any kind of unusual circumstances in our life, something that puts us, in this case, forcefully out of our comfort zone, it's so natural to experience fear. So I don't want you to feel that, you know, I shouldn't feel this. I have to stop this. The way I deal with this, I acknowledge the fear. I acknowledge the emotion that I experience. And then I say, well, I hear you, and here what I choose. I choose to feel that way. I choose to think that way, right? And most of us, when we are, let's say, on the at the beginning of the on the bank of a big river, at the beginning of the bridge, and bridges maybe doesn't seem very safe at this moment. We tend to look down, right? Or when we at the cliff, at the end of the cliff, we tend to look down, and that's when the fear really takes over, takes the best out of us. And that's why I think that it's important to keep things in perspective. This is not the end of the world, even though sometimes it feels like that, because it's like so many aspects of our lives disrupted. It's not the end of the world. And it's very important that you think and feel, and very important that you comfort your loved ones around you, your children, maybe your elderly parents, comfort them with your calm attitude. Like my mom is 83 right now, and she lives far away. So every time I call her, which I call several times a day, she's not well right now. So she's like, oh my God, it's so scary. Did you see that? Did you hear that? And I was like, Mom, you remember we agreed that you will take this news that you hear, because she is watching news all the time because she cannot go out. So that's the only entertainment she has. And so I say, you remember we agreed that you will take this news, whatever you hear, and then you will choose what is positive right now in your life. Your children are healthy, your grandchildren are healthy, etc., etc., right? You have a food on your table, your neighbors, your girlfriends have shelter, have food. So it's so important to keep things in perspective, to know that this is a short term. When I say short term, I'm not talking about years, right? We're talking about months. So it is a short-term crisis, and if there is a silver lining, and I believe that everything has a silver lining, is that it united us across the world, right? In many ways, we use the technology to connect to each other. We feel more compassionate because we know what other people in other countries are going through. So there are some gifts in this very uncertain, very fearful times, and I believe it was. I think Laura Danelli brought up a quote from Churchill, Winston Churchill, who said that fear is a reaction, and courage is a choice. So I believe that we can't choose what we focus on. We can't choose what we amplify, because we can amplify the loss of money in the stock market. We can amplify the potential scare that, you know, your loved ones can get sick. Usually we worry more about our loved ones than ourselves. So we can amplify this, or we can say they have a resilient health. They have a strong immune system. So for example, every morning I focus on my body, my health, and people who, you know, in my immediate circle who I can see, and I repeat every morning. They are in good health. They can deal with this crisis. They're resilient. So I instill this message intentionally. Okay, so that's what I do. And yes, I meditate more than usually every morning and every night. And again, going back to the word that I choose for today is perspective. See things in perspective. Yes, if you retire, you know, in a couple of months, it's not a good situation to be in. And you know, my heart goes out to you. But most of us don't really rely on money that we had in the stock market. And just a few weeks ago, you know, the investments were doing great. So just see things in perspective. Everything will come back. What I'm telling you right now is basically what I'm telling myself every day. I have this conversation in my head that we have to see things in perspective. And it's very important that your children feel safe, because for them, you know, the routine and the structure is so important in their lives to feel safe. So if they are out of school, you've got to have some kind of structure for them, right? To feel safe, and talk to them that yes, it's a challenging time, but you know, we will go through this. We will be strong after this. So it's an opportunity for you to really bond more with your children, with your parents, with your family members. And so again, perspective. You've got to see things in perspective. Also, I know that money is a big concern right now for many of us who relied, let's say, on fixed income, or people who work in industries that were affected by this crisis. So what I can say, what I do, I am much more intentional with my money. I check my automatic payments. I, you know, cancel some subscriptions that I don't really use that much right now. I'm basically just more mindful with what my essential financial responsibilities are. Of course, you know, number one, you have to have money for food, water, for paying rent or mortgage, whatever your situation is, right? But if you were, you know, putting extra money toward your maybe saving account or emergency fund, right now it's probably time not to do that. But since most of us now don't go out to the restaurants, and you know, I know all my theater performances and concerts and some planes that I was planning to fly to see my mom, everything is canceled. So, you know, it's a not good opportunity, but it's opportunity to save a little bit more than in our usual lifestyle, right? So try to save if you can, and if you're affected by this crisis in terms of your paycheck or in terms of your fixed income, it is the time to use your emergency fund. Don't be afraid to, to get into this money right now if that's what you have to do. I personally don't think that even though we have deep plunge in the stock markets, I don't think it's a good idea to use your emergency fund to buy stocks on sale right now. I would not recommend that. I don't do that myself. I think that emergency fund should be your safe buffer and should not be used for any speculative investments, no matter how attractive they may be. So that, what else I wanted to say today? I'm watching the markets, yes. So it's scary to see what is happening. Basically, our retirement funds are melting away. However, again, perspective. You remember what for today's vlog is perspective. It will come back. It will come back, and maybe not next year at the level that you were a few weeks ago, but markets always recover. So in my personal opinion, right now it's too late to sell, and it's too early to buy. It's my personal opinion. It's not advice. It's not a recommendation. But I just wanted you to know where I stand, since this is my vlog, right? It's my sharing. And I would love to hear from you. I want to know what is happening for you, how you live through this crisis, because we all have different circumstances, and we all have different level of resilience. And in my personal opinion, we will really feel stronger and more resilient after we go through this, and we will go through this. Again, perspective, okay? Keep things in perspective. Things will get better. I want to wish you and your loved ones great health, mental health as well, not only physical health. Stay strong, be strong for yourself and for people around you. Sending you love and big hug. And I'm going to do these vlogs from time to time when I have an opportunity. Okay? Thank you. Much love. Grow your wealth. Live on your terms.